Okay guys, so what we're fixing up today is this old school 1998 Gemmy hip swinging Santa Claus that I purchased at an antique store last night. As you can see, it still has the Eckerd tag on it, which is pretty cool. They peeled off the price though. As you can see, his base is really dirty, needs to be cleaned up a little bit. His battery compartment is very clean though. He does have a broken arm over here. As you can see, it's supposed to be straight up and down like that one, and that's it. This one's just dangling there, and he no longer hip swings. Here's what he does at the moment.
Ho, ho, ho! You better watch out, you better not cry, better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and open him up and see why he's not dancing. Okay, so we're in Santa Claus. Got his pants off and the back of his shirt off. And it looks like we should take out the screw right here, the screw to his little butt plate, because there's a screw underneath there as well. So that's what we're gonna go ahead and do right now. Finally get that screw out. Okay. Okay, so we got the back of him off, and appears we have two little gears on each side right there that connect to the inner parts of his legs to help him hip swing. This is a lot older hip swinging mech than what I'm used to. We have a little silver bar that fell inside his stomach. I'm gonna try to get out. There we go. That just helps keep the back plate on. In there. So I want you guys to pay attention to this little swivel piece right here when I activate him.
Ho, ho, ho! You better watch out, you better not cry.
See when I touch it, it just slows down, and you can kind of hear that gear grinding noise. That means we have a split motor shaft. And I'm going to go ahead and take the front plate off of Santa Claus with his little stomach plate. You can see we have the belt. And when we grab the inner piece here and move it, that's what makes him hip swing. So we're going to go ahead and unscrew the two screws here and the two screws here to get this mechanism out of Santa. We actually might be able to get away with just screwing the first top too. Bit of force at first, you know, and the screws have been in there for so long. We might have to do the bottom as well. And that gets his entire torso piece off there. And then from there on, with carefully trying not to tug this wiring right here, we're going to pull these pins out. There's 2 pins on each side. Okay, that'll allow the mechanism to freely fall out. And then we're going to slip this belt off. That belt is still in good shape, surprisingly, after all these years. I'm going to flip this around here as best we can. And we're going to take out all these screws in this mechanism. So we have Santa Claus resting on something so that it doesn't tug the wire more than what we're already going to be as we pull these screws out. Like I said, a little bit of force with these ones. Perfect. Go ahead and slide this mechanism out. Okay, simple 3-gear mechanism. That screws aside. We have the main gear right here, square shaft gear. I don't know if you guys can really see with this light. Maybe it'd be easier if I turned it off. The main gear right here, which controls this little swivel piece. Okay, and then let that rest there. 2 little gears. One just fell out. 2 little gears right here, and the one that we need to replace is this. You might be able to see better with the light now. The one we need to replace is this little motor shaft gear right here. It should pull right out because of how badly it's split. If we pry the belt piece, there's our gear that we need to replace. And here's our brand new gear. Let's focus. Here's our brand new gear on our new swivel piece right here. Okay. And once you get all the gears inside and the gearbox back together, it's just as simple as putting these screws back in. They did upgrade the hip swinging mechanism in 2000 or 2001, around there, to a lot better than what this one is. The newer, this is the 1998 mechanism. The newer 2001 hip swinging mechanism is a hell of a lot easier to, believe it or not, as easy as this was, actually even more easy to take apart and put back together, in my personal opinion. Doesn't give you a lot of leeway here with this short wire. We'll put the belt on and we'll test our mechanism. So this belt is still in alright shape. If I can get it on there. Okay. Let's get our adapter. It's a lot better, even when I'm holding it. Alright. Now we'll continue to put Santa Claus back together. So remember, we had these 2 pins. Squeeze Santa's mechanism back in between his legs here. Gotta be careful, we don't want to put it in the wrong spot where this wire gets in the way. So there's not a lot of wire leeway here, so I'm not a huge fan of these older mechanisms. I'm so sorry. I thought I was recording. I wasn't, and that's frustrating. But we got Santa's legs and everything back together, and his piece back in. I'm so disappointed. I thought I was recording. What I did mention when I thought I was recording was that I know it's frustrating. You guys can't really see what I'm doing a lot, but I'm still in the process of moving. So once I get the rest of my stuff here and find my tripod, you guys will be able to see what I'm doing a lot better. So now we're going about putting Santa Claus's butt plate, that's his stomach, his back plate with the butt attached, back on. Gear piece is going at the bottom, of course. 2 little pins on each side. Part of his clothing here in the way. Try to get a good angle for you guys to see, so bear with me and I'll get that tripod here. Stupid clothing keeps getting in the way. Trying to see what I'm doing as I'm trying to show you guys. You kind of got to hold the one pin from the other side so that it doesn't push out. It's hard with his clothing here to show you guys exactly what I'm doing. Put Santa screws back in. Back side. Screws into his stomach plate. I probably should have taken his clothes off all the way, but don't work harder, work smarter. There we go. There we go. Got a stomach plate in. I'm going to go ahead and screw those two together by inserting the screw in Santa's back. All right. Now before we put his clothes back on, we'll just give him a quick test.
Watch out, you better not cry, better not pout, I'm telling you why.
Seems to be working about the way it should.
To town.
Santa's all dressed, his arm is back on. The way I fixed the arm was initially I was going to use hot glue, but we want something a little bit more sturdy than hot glue. So I just drilled a hole through his arm, as you can see right there, and through the little plastic piece right there that moves his arm, and it came out pretty good. Sorry, I don't know why it's not focusing. Okay, and here is the finished product. I just have to finish cleaning them up.
Ho, ho, ho! You better watch out, you better not cry, better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. I'm making a list and checking it twice, gonna find out who's naughty and nice. Santa Claus is coming to town. I see you when you're sleeping, I know when you're awake. I know if you've been bad or good, so be good for goodness sake. You better watch out, you better not cry, better not pout, I'm telling you why.